Hello folks, Major Gosnell here, and this is going to be episode 10 of my Stationeers playthrough. Now the last time you left, I had just finished my gas filtration room, and I'd hoped in this episode to actually start working on my first fully pressurized room that I was going to place around the back of the main building here. And I'd hoped to set up an airlock system with the gas coming in, pressurizing it with O2, and having some sort of heating system set up. However, I ran into a bug with the latest patch whereby my solar panels, which are operating off of a computer, stopped working. The settings were all in the right order, but the computer for some reason wasn't initiating program, so I had to change my plans. And that meant learning how to set up a logic chip system for my solar panels to track the sun. And that's what I'm going to be covering in this video. Basically, how to have an upgraded automatic solar panel tracking. And it's really surprisingly easy once you know what you're actually doing. So you're going to need a couple of things to begin. You're going to need, whoops-a-daisy, not your welder. You're going to need a couple of chips. And all of these chips you can produce on your electronics printer over here. So the items that you actually need are 2 kit logic IOs, here, 1 logic memory, and 1 logic processor. Now the system I'm using I found on YouTube, funnily enough, off of a YouTuber by the name of Grey Duster. I'm sure most of you know who he is at this point. And this is the simplest system that I was able to find for making solar tracking work. And it's such a very simple system and so easy to set up. Full credit to the guy for designing this. Grey Duster, I'm going to put a link to his channel in the description. Check him out. The guy's a genius. So, enough arse-licking. I am now going to get down to business. First things first, you're going to need one of your kit logic IOs. So you're going to pick that up. And I've already set up the wiring in the right positioning for it, but I am going to explain the way the wires are placed as well for you. So you're going to put this down, and you want to put down a batch writer. So when you right click, scroll your mouse wheel until you get batch writer. Now in this case you're going to want to put it on its side, so batch writer is vertical. And the power outlet is on the right hand side as you're looking at it. So slot that in place. Now you'll notice that it has 2 data ports, one at the top, one at the bottom, and the power outlet on the side. Now if you come over here, my data output on my computer is here, as you can see, and that's running into the data outlet on the batch writer. The power cable, which is here, is running along and coming up here and into the side of the batch writer. So it's now powered as well. Now the next thing you're going to want to place is your logic memory. This is the logic memory here. You're going to come over here and you're just going to turn it around. Now I'm not sure if it works both ways, but we're going to turn it so that the memory is vertical and you would read it if you were standing to the left, like so. So if you want to screen grab that, by all means, and you have 2 data entry ports, one at the bottom, one at the top. And this is something I'm going to come back to you on as well. I had to make a small change to Grey Duster's design because it wouldn't work for me. Now, next thing we're going to want to place is the processor. Now with the processor, you're going to come up to the middle block here, select it, and you want a mat unit. So not mat unary, not mat min max or select or compare, you want mat unit. Now I believe, if I'm not very much mistaken, this one needs to be on its side as well. So we are going to turn this once, like so. And I just want to make sure I placed that correctly. I did. Perfect. So with the mat unit, you want to have input 1 at the top of the block, here. You want to have the logic mat coming out of here, the data entry port, feeding down into the batch writer. You want to have logic 2, input 2, coming out the bottom, and the data cable, ideally, you want feeding into the memory here. So this is coming out here, down here, and into the memory. The next thing you're going to want to place is your logic I/O again, and this time you're going to want to place a logic reader, which is here. This is the logic reader. There's a few different options there, but you want to have a logic reader. And this one, I believe you want to place... One second. Just want to make sure this is all placed in the right way. Yeah, that should be correct, I think. I may have placed that one wrong. We're going to find out when I switch it all on. I think we might have to put that facing straight up. But again, you need to make sure that it's powered, which is the wire that's running all the way down here. And thinking now that that is correct. Yes, that is correct. So the power cabling is running all the way down, hooking around here and up the central block here again. Yes, that should be right. And again, you have your electronics cable is linking into the bottom of this one. Now, what you want to do is go to your computer, click on computer, go to conditions. Oh, sorry, let me restart that for you. You go to create new state, go to conditions, select your computer, which should be on the list somewhere. Yes, it is. And then power is on. Then you're going to go to actions. You're going to select logic memory, which is this one here. Make sure it's logic memory that you select, setting, and then you're going to enter a new value of 1.8, which I will explain in a few moments. Press play, and that should lock it into the memory over here, which it did. Now, this is where things get ever so slightly complicated, but not too much. So, you're going to need your screwdriver, and what you're going to want to do is first go to the out type on the batch writer. That's the one that's located in the bottom right of the block. And with your screwdriver, select your solar panel. Keep left clicking until you come to solar panel. There we go. Here, you're going to click to vertical. So, solar panel, vertical. And then, you're going to make sure that this is on input logic mat, which is linking up to this one. So make sure it's on logic mat. Okay. Now, the next thing you're going to want to do is come up to the mat unit up here. And you're going to go here. Input 2 is set for the memory, which is the one down here. Input 1 should be set to your logic reader. Oh, I forgot one very important thing there actually. The logic reader is actually connected to my daylight sensor, which is probably the most important part of this entire thing. So make sure that that sensor is connected directly into the logic reader. And also make sure that there's a power cable feeding into that cable to give power to the sensor. Now, what we're going to want to do here, back down here, logic input 1, click on the mat unit, the middle block, till you go to divide, then come up to the logic reader. Click on this till you get to daylight sensor. There we go. So you click on the top button, then on the bottom button, go to solar angle. Now, if I've set this up rightly, all these buttons should turn green. That's great. That's not. So something is not right. Now what can that be? Ah, the input. So you need to make sure the input is set to logic memory. So make sure the bottom button here is set to logic memory. And it's still flashing wrong. Ah, and make sure this is selected to logic reader. So make sure that the top button is set to logic reader. Now you'll notice that all the lights are green. And if you come over here with me, you're going to see these solar panels moving ever so slightly. They're now tracking the sun 10 times quicker than the previous system that was set up on the computer. So let me explain how this works a little bit. The setting 1.8 that you put here is dividing the solar panel angle. So the solar panels operate within 100 degree of movement. The daylight sensor operates within 180 degree of movement. Dividing 1.8 of the solar angle on the panels by the total of the daylight sensor degree of movement, you get a figure of 100. So throughout the course of the sun going up and over, rising and setting, that makes more sense, the panel will actively track the sun at one movement for every 1.8 of the daylight angle. So there'll be 100 movements within the day of this panel, as you can see here. And that is working very, very nicely. So that is how you get automatic solar tracking up and running. I hope this video was useful for you. And before I go, I'm just going to show you one other thing that you can check to make sure you've set it up right. If you look here at these figures are going up. So currently it's at 31 degrees, now 32 degrees. Now if we run over to the daylight sensor, it should correspond here at 60 degrees. Ah, I'm wrong. So this figure is for the vertical over here, which if I had a wrench, which I should have somewhere, give me one moment. A bit of a messy workman, as you can see. Where did I leave my wrench, I wonder? That's actually going to be an issue if I can't find it. So, yes, that is... Oh, there she is. Right, let's run over there and grab her. So if we come over here, this should now be at 39% vertical, and as you can see there, 39. So that's corresponding with the vertical level of the solar panel, like so. However, if you come up here, it says 74 and 75, which means the daylight sensor will correspond to that. So this is basically reading the daylight sensor. It's dividing the daylight sensor degree of movement by the movement of the solar panel and providing all the information to the batch writer, which is then sending the information to these, which causes it to move around. Once you know how to set it up, it's very easy. I'm going to stand back here, and if anybody wants to take a screenshot of... I might have enough gas there. We do. If anybody wants to take a screenshot there, that is the basic layout of a simple solar tracking array. So, I hope this was useful, guys. Thank you for watching. Please hit the like and subscribe button. As I explained, YouTube are killing me right now. And yeah, I really appreciate it. And thanks for all the support so far, guys. And girls. And people. Let's be PC.